Feeling myself, but I stay in my lane. I know you thinking you nice, but you sounding the same. He need to switch up his flow, but I know that he ain't. Shit, maybe he want to and probably can't. He talk a lot, but ain't saying a word. He's 16, sounding like he be lacing his herb. Reggie Rock told me time to just focus and spit. Quit worrying about the niggas abandoning shit. I dropped broken and they told me quit biting your tongue. The way you writing sounded like you forgot where you from. Say you from the hood, but you sound like a minister now. Yeah, I could take it there, but shit, I just like how this sound. I should address some of this drama, but letting it go. Shit, I can't keep playing with you niggas, I'm getting too old. The last words Bone told me I never forget. Quit playing with this music and do it to death. Shit, I came back.
You're now watching the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, hosted by your man, H-Rap B.
Hey, I'm back. I am back. Back. Shout out to me. This is the anniversary of the End of the Bench podcast. I started it. I thought it was 6, but 8 years ago today. 8 years ago today, 2015, and it's actually tomorrow, and I'm doing the show tomorrow. But thank you for tuning in. This is the End of the Bench podcast, hosted by yours truly, H-Rap B. I am here to build and destroy, build a community and destroy the lies and the propaganda that surround our community. I do this every Tuesday. You can catch it live, L-I-V-E, live, L-I-V-E. That's a salute to my homeboy, Jungle Brother. L-I-V-E, live. Thank you. Without you, there's no me. I'm just a dude sitting in the room talking to himself. If you are watching, I didn't put it on the End of the Bench.com page, so you stuck with me on Facebook, you stuck with me on YouTube. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, subscribe, like, subscribe, like. Salute to my parents, my ancestors, the ancestry and the ancestral realm. They are with the Lord. And because they're with the Lord, before they got to the Lord, they said, let's create rap. And here I am. 53 years ago, I did it. I've been doing this for quite a bit of time now. Thank you for tuning in, everybody who will support, everybody who will support, everybody who is supporting currently. Thank you. It is a pleasure to have done this. It started off a sports podcast. And then I said, I'm sick of talking about this. And then I started talking about community empowerment. And here we are, people. H-Rap is talking community empowerment. I'm here for the duration, and I started talking sports again. You can catch me tomorrow. Hold my beer sports, but up until and including that moment, salute to myself. Salute to the people who started me. That's my man, Big Illinois. That's my man, Big Chris. That's my man, Kirby Alexander Joel, and my little bro, Wanga. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. This show is called Black Folks. We have no friends. We just have allies and enemies. We have no friends, just allies and enemies. The reason I call it that is because we are in a conundrum right now. Our community is a very caring and loving community. This is the way God created us. We are the chosen people. I said it. I understand people disagree, but I didn't ask you guys. It's my opinion, my expert opinion. Shout out to my man, Math Hoffa. This is how I feel. We are the people, we are the golden children of the earth. We are the first people to walk the earth. We are the people who created civilization. We are the people who created mathematics, science. We are the people who created neurosurgery. We are the people who created dozens upon dozens of things. And at this point in the history of the world, we are much maligned. Why are we much maligned? It's because we are so awesome. We are the greatest people in the history of the world. We are the salt of the earth, as they say. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I told y'all, going forward, I'm not cared about people's feelings. I'm not going, I don't hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not here to disrespect or hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just telling you what I see, the way I see it and what it is. Now, with that being said, This is the anniversary of this program. I am here to present you with information, let you know, Black people, we do not have any allies. We only have friends. You have people who are trying to destroy our history, but there's people who are trying to deny our history. There are people denying our civilian rights. That's what civil stands for. Civil rights is a abbreviated portion of the word civilian rights. And civilian rights are the rights that are given to us by the creator of the universe. No man can give you civil rights. You have to demand them. You must do everything you can humanly possible to ensure that your rights are protected and are respected. Most people in this world do not respect and attempt to separate us by saying he's an African, he's a Caribbean, he's a South American, he's a Central American, he's a Canadian, he's a European Black person. No, we all look the same. We all built the same. We are not the same. We're like snowflakes. But with that being said, snowflakes are all different, but they're all still snowflakes. And I'm here to tell you, there are people out here to destroy us. Do we have allies? Indeed, we do. Are they from all cultures? Of course they are. But there are not enough people from each culture that are galvanizing and saying, get off those Black people's behind. There are people that are denying us. Oh, we're sick of them and we're doing this and doing that. This is why the title of the show on the anniversary of my program is We Have No Friends. I got that from one of the greatest scholars in the history of the world. His name is John Henry Clarke. Black people, we have no friends. We have allies and enemies. That's it. People have been trying to discredit us. People have been trying to disregard us and disrespect us. And it's time for us to galvanize and come to the point where we are going to work side by side, hand in hand. Guess what? Working together does not mean you have to agree with me. There's people that's going to tune in. There's people that will tune in later. There's people that's going to scroll by that don't like me. So what? But you don't, and you may not even agree with me, but we can still work together. Guess what? I don't like hot sauce. I'm one of the few Black people in the United States of America that don't deal with hot sauce. That don't mean hot sauce is nasty. It just mean don't put it on my food. That don't mean we can't share a piece of chicken. That don't mean we can't box of chicken. You just grab your chicken and you put hot sauce on, put mild sauce on, man, we're going to enjoy it. And this is why I'm here. I'm here to let you know. While people disrespect us, disregard us, and not pay attention to us, what we must do is come together and omit all of those disrespectful things and put ourselves in a position to win. What I've noticed about my community is this is what we do. We need to be more like this community. We need to be more like that community. We need to get our act together, and we need to do what we need to do to ensure that we're safe and we're solid like those people. How about this? If someone built a house down the street from your house, all you would have to do is look at the blueprint of that house and you could build your own. Or find people who are handyman and you can read the instructions to them and they can build you a house. You will work together and then you would either pay him or pay him the favor of allowing people to do the same thing for him. And that's all we have to do. Whether you're a Jehovah's Witness, whether you're a Buddhist, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Catholic, a Protestant, or whatever way you choose to praise the Lord, your God, and look like us, we need to work together. Because there's one thing that we do have in common, that is a lot of people that walk the face of this earth that want to see us done. And it sounds like hate speech, and it sounds like you're trying to separate us. Indeed, I am. I am. Because when we show up at certain, when most of us show up at most places, we grab people's attention. Hey, what are they doing here? And when you have that, and most of us have felt that, especially if you're living in the Midwest of the United States of America, like myself, or the southern part of the United States, when you walk into music, if you walk into the room and the music stops, metaphorically, that means people are looking at you. If everybody else can walk in and you get no attention, and you walk in, you attract attention, that's a problem. That means people have problems with you, because guess what? If me and some of my friends are at a table, at a restaurant, or in the park, playing chess, playing basketball, playing softball, playing golf, or whatever we're doing in the park or wherever, and a group of white men walked in, we would just continue to talk. We wouldn't acknowledge them. If a group of Asian men, a group of Latino men, a group of Asian, Latino, Central American, Canadian, or wherever you're from, if a group of people from another part of the world walked in, we wouldn't even blink. But when a group of us walk in, it's a problem. This is why I said we have allies. Yeah, there's people with the same problems with us. You know, people like Bernie Sanders, they always, I march with Dr. King. So I got black friends. So I got black friends. I got black relatives. It's overrated. It ain't what it's all cracked up to be. Not always good. They get on my nerves just like I get on their nerves. But at the end of the day, we are black people. We must come together. We have people who are openly and insistently attempting to destroy us. People won't openly admit it. People will dance around it. People will say, hey, well, I didn't mean it that way. Yes, you did. Because guess what? At this day and time, this isn't 1865. This isn't 1890. This isn't 1900. This isn't 1925. This is 1945, 1965, or 1975. This is 2023. So when you are at this juncture of the world and you're still disrespecting people and openly disrespecting people, like the people from the LGBTQIA community, if I was to use the F word or the D word, that is openly disrespectful. That is, I'm disregarding your humanity. I'm going to use a slur to insult you. And if people are disregarding, or if you exclude them or disregard them or minimalize them, that means you have no respect for them. And there's people still doing that. People are acting as if they don't count, and we don't count. That, my friend, is an ally, but that does not mean everybody in the LGBTQIA community is our friend, because they're not, because they have their own agenda and we need to have our own. People are galvanizing their groups and pulling people into each direction. The Republicans don't do anything for you. The Democrats don't do anything for you. And guess what? The Independents don't do anything for us. The Green Party don't do anything for us. The Tree Huggers don't do anything for us. The Arbor Day people don't do anything for us. And anybody else in the history of the world won't do anything for us. You know why? Because we, W-E, not the French we, us, me and you, we must do it. We must come together. We must shop with each other, because this is a capitalistic society. And if we are one of the number one spenders, America is the world's wallet. And what I mean by the world's wallet, when we go in our wallet, everybody else benefits. Black America is the United States wallet. We must get a Mercedes. We must buy gold chains. We must wear Yeezys. We must buy Air Jordans. We must, I know this old, but apple bottom jeans and True Religion jeans and Karl Kani pants and Gucci and Guess and Louis and Prada. We do all those things. We finance billionaires. I got to drink Hennessy. Guess what? Shout out to my man. I ain't gonna say his name. He just shot me some of the slickest moonshine in the world. Flat out. That's what we're doing. Yes, indeed. I drink moonshine. Indeed. Delicious. Shout out to my homie. He know who he is. He's listening. I seen his name in there already. But this is what we need to do. We need to start shopping out of need, not out of want. Look, you need your brakes fixed. You need your oil changed. You need new clothes. You need detergent. You need soap. You need food. You need a TV because you want to be entertained. You need that. Those are the things that you're going to add to your everyday life to make sure your life is good. I'm not saying that you don't want those things. But we don't have to have 15 pair of shoes anymore. We don't need the most expensive thing. We need quality, not quantity. Quality, not quantity. And the reason I'm bringing this up today is because it's time for us to come together as a group and say, this is what we're going to do. And if we don't do those things, we will continue to suffer. That's it. That's all. And it's over. And the people who are on Facebook, shout out to the people on Facebook. I'm going to need you to hit that thumbs up or like button or whatever it is on Facebook. I need you to do it, share it, tell a friend, get that link. I sent you a bunch of y'all that link. Do that link for your boy. Hit your man link, share it. I need to see a couple of thumbs up on there in the right-hand corner. And I need you to hit thumbs up. I see my man Wilkes in there. I'm gonna see my man, my big bro, Ace Bays in there. I need y'all to hit that thing, and I'm in the few seconds. I'm gonna need to see that heart in the top left-hand corner of my screen. Y'all don't see it, but I do. Need to be a heart or a blue like or something. And I need y'all to subscribe. Go to YouTube. Because Facebook don't really pay like they need to be paying, but you go to YouTube, and every time it's a commercial played on one of my videos, I get $3. I'm gonna need y'all to help your boy. But this is what I need to do. Shout out to Will. Shout out to Ace Bays. Shout out to Chief Rocker. Shout out to Ray KF. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Everybody. Shout out to everybody. Y'all know I hate doing that. But this is what I'm talking about, though. we are at an inflection point. What is an inflection point? This is when you get to a point in your life and the history of your community that it's time to make a move. A decision must be made. We used to think about this. If you're old enough to remember this, everybody had Jet and Ebony on their cocktail table. Jet, Ebony, then it became Essence. Had Time and Life. You had the Black Book with all the history of the Black community in it. You had things in the key, and we all, as a collective community, had that. If you said, "I'm bored," your mother, your grandmother, your aunts read one of those books, because that's what we used to do. And it's time for us to have that collective unity moving in the same direction. Remember, if you're old enough to remember, when you remember your parents will all go out, your aunts and uncles will all go out, and they would put all the kids in one house and anybody have a sleepover and be potters on the floor. And we watch Let's Do It Again, Uptown Saturday Night, Car Wash, things like that on the Late Show on Friday nights. We need to get back to things like that. And not just watching movies together. We need to be sharing things together. It's something that needs to be done. You need to be sharing who your tailor is. You need to be sharing where you get your groceries from. You need to be sharing. Otherwise, we will continue to suffer. These things will only hurt us if we don't do it. If you don't get involved, you will suffer. And this is why I say you have no friends. You only have allies. Your friends are the people in the mirror and the people who live next door to you and the people who are part of your community who are doing what you're doing. Is it people in the community that are not doing what they're supposed to do? Of course it is. Oh man, they'll never do this, they'll never do that. And now it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The people who love the Lord and participate in church, you guys are some of the most annoying people I know, because you're going to tell me life and death is in the tongue, and you always say it's never going to. It's not. This is what's wrong. You never talk about what's right. So if life and death lives in the tongue, why don't you start telling me about what is, what could be, and what is going to be, instead of what's not, what ain't, and what it should have been. See, you continue to talk yourself out of things. Look, fun fact. We do this on Forecast. Fun fact from HVAC. One of the fun facts in regards to this is this. When you say no or can't, the problem-solving portion of your brain shuts down. It automatically shuts down, zeroes out. Because when your brain says, oh, that's not going to happen, no need, I'm going to do something else. So let's start saying will, can, and ought to. So now you're starting to fix things in your mind. With that being said, let me give you the first example. This is the first thing on the docket. Reparations. What is reparations? Reparations is financial, or it could be financial, it could be land, it could be 1,000,005 things. You can go, but it is repair of something that is damaged. You're going to give us reparations. You're going to repair us for the damage that you've done to us. Now, there's a bunch of studies. There's been conversations in California, here in Evanston, Illinois, in Florida, and all over the country about conversations about the study of reparations. We need to study if reparation is needed in the Black community. Now, if you take someone from their homeland or capture them over here and enslave them and strip them of their language, their native tongue, their native diet, their native dress, the way they praise the Lord, things of that nature, that needs to be repaired or restored. Reparations. If you have put there are dozens, literally multiple dozens of towns that are either A, underwater, or B, taken over and erased as if they no longer exist, in Texas and Alabama and Georgia, Allentown, Alabama, underwater. There are things to land that has been obtained. 40 acres and a mule. 40 acres and a mule. That's a perfect example. We were supposed to get 40 acres mules and $100. Guess what? Initially, before the assassination of the president called Abraham Lincoln, a few people got it. And when he was assassinated, that land was taken away. That family needs reparations, needs to be restored. Those funds need to be reinitiated into that family's pocket. And if you don't do that, then guess who's responsible for that? The United States federal government. Do we deserve reparations as the Black community? Of course we do. A lot of us were run off our land. A lot of us were lynched. At one point, it was 1,200 people a year. 1,200 people a year. There have been hate groups designed. Let's go backward. The Oath Keepers, the Originals, the Ku Klux Klan, and so forth. We can go on. The Democratic Party, the Democratic Party. Now, the Republican Party, these are hate groups that are focused on destroying our community and destroying everything about us. Period. In my opinion. Say you have to say my opinion just in case they watch. When they watch it, they're gonna sue me and they're gonna say, I just gave you my opinion. I can give you my opinion of your actions. Why do we continue to debate back and forth of these parties our friends? No. The Democratic Party originally was the party that was anti-slavery. They were part of the Confederate, and they created a national party to fight the freedom of the enslaved black people in this country. Yes. And then the Republicans, which was Abraham Lincoln Party, they fought against it. And they didn't fight against slavery. Correction. They fought for the maintaining of the Union. And one of the concessions they gave up was the freedom of enslaved black people, whether they be African or indigenous. Yes, indigenous meaning native to this land, but allow me to move forward. So again, see how you have no friends? They wanted to keep their situation together. The other people wanted to keep their situation apart because they want to dominate and treat us like cattle. Other people say, hey, treat them like they kind of people, but we're not going to really treat them like people, right? And then here we are. Reparations is needed. Now, you had to have studies. California's preparing to have a study, even though that governor hasn't signed. And Gavin Newsom, salute to you. You do a lot of good work, but you haven't signed that bill. And there's no people never sitting there talking about doing it, but it's a whole lot of willy-nilly. And let's go straight to the state of Florida. State of Florida has their inner Tilly about having the conversation about reparations. Like the Seminole Indians. You ever wonder why the Seminoles on all those pictures are so dark? Guess why? Well, we're not going to get into a conversation about indigenous and black and things of that nature. Mansa Musa coming over here, 100,000 strong. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is this. We're going to talk about the fact that there is a bill, SJR 522. SJR 522. Let me put that on the screen because some people may forget it. And I told you I need y'all to fact check me, because if you don't believe me or disagree, or if you ain't trying to know what he's talking about, we're going to say SRJ 22. And we're going to put that on the screen. We're going to make sure you guys know what I'm talking about. SRJ 522. Oops, I'm tripping. SJR 522. That's the bill. That's in Florida, on the House and on Florida, on their people. SR, that's the bill on the House of the Florida government. SJR 522. SJR 522. I kept transposing that. You know what that is? That's the bill that's on the House in Florida. State government, guess what that bill wants? One of the state reps, remember that Ice Cube says your vote don't count. Ice Cube said hold your vote. Ice Cube and a few other people said, hey, the Democratic Party not doing anything for us. We need to hold our vote until they do something. Well, we held our vote, and clowns like this bozo who proposed SJR 522. Guess what that bill is for? That bill is an anti-reparation bill. They want to put it to the vote. Now, this is when we really find out if we have friends, if you potentially have friends, or do you just have enemies and allies? How many enemies do we have? How many allies? If this bill is being put on the Florida House of Representatives, Florida government in the state of Florida. What is that bill? That bill is to add to the Constitution of the state of Florida to say reparations could never be given out to any peoples. See, they never say black people because you can get it. Because they never even say slavery. They never say black or slavery. But they say reparations shouldn't be given out, and it shouldn't be discussed, and it shouldn't be researched. So basically, you want to take reparations off the table altogether. Why? I mean, that's only Florida, Adrian. But remember, the anti-abortion thing started in Texas. Then it spread to Florida. Then it spread to Arizona. Then it went to Ohio. Then it went up to Michigan. And you see how it metastasizes like cancer, and it spreads through the body of the country, meaning touches all the states. And the next thing you know, bam, you're in trouble. But SJR 522 is so you won't get reparations. So, yeah. We raped your sisters. We burned down your towns. We flooded your towns. We took your property. We stripped you of your name. We stripped you of your heritage. We erased everything that we could, and we don't want to pay for it. Meanwhile, the people who are insultingly called Indians, and for those that don't know, Cherokee is an insulting name too, but we're not gonna get into that again. Look it up again. Look it up. Just look it up. You don't have to take my opinion for it. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Top five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million. I'm not even in the conversation, but I'm informed. I'm well informed. Now, these people are putting this in play, and they're asking, they want to put it on the ballot. They want to put it on the ballot. And when you put it on the ballot, what happens? That means that people will decide if we get reparations in the state of Florida. What if they put it in the Constitution? Guess what? Ice Cube told us, don't vote or we won't get any tangibles. So if we would have voted, it's a very good chance that this guy would be on the Florida House of Representatives in the state of Florida. And if he wasn't on the Florida House of Representatives in the state of Florida, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, and we could be moving forward towards getting things taken care of, getting opportunities that we need to be even Steven. But Ice Cube told us not to do that. Are we still going to listen to these rappers, man? No, we're not going to listen to rappers. We're going to stop listening to rappers and entertainers and people of that nature, because they don't look. If the ish hit the fan, let's look at it this way. If the ish hits the fan, what Ice Cube gonna do? Is Ice Cube not gonna eat like you? Are you gonna not eat like Ice Cube? No. You know what Ice Cube and the Cubes gonna do? They're going to melt in another country, because Ice Cube has enough money to take him, O'Shea Jr., his daughter, his wife, if he has grandchildren, all of them to move to Barbados, the Caribbean, South America, Africa, Europe, or wherever he wants to live, because he doesn't have to deal with the everyday issues that we have. Now, the question is, can you afford a passport right now? Can you afford anything outside of your bills and natural life? Do you have a passport? But see, when you're a millionaire, you can hold the vote. See, these are the things that we're not paying attention to. These are the things that will sneak up and bite us in the behind. They will sneak up and fight us in the behind, because we're not paying attention. We're listening to people who have no dog in this fight. The Cubes, they will not suffer the same ill that you serve, because he can pack up and he can leave. Ice Cube, his wife, his daughter, his children, his grandchildren, they all can leave. His mother, his brothers, he has enough finances to pack them up and go somewhere else. This is a movie maker. This is a dude who owns a basketball league. This is a dude who has hit selling records. This is a dude who has been on multiple concert tours. So he has the capital to make moves that he doesn't have to do. He can make these statements. Makes you wonder what's really going on. Are you getting money for this, Ice Cube? What's the plan, Ice Cube? He never comes. And let's not forget, when Trump was elected, this is a dude who went on Twitter and said, yo, forget y'all, I ain't on it no more, and was out. And that's the bottom line. When he said, I'm out, we should stop listening to him. We should have been listening to him anyway, because there are dozens of people. Dr. Claude Anson, Karen Hunter, Clay Kane, Marie Daniel Favors, and a myriad of Roland Martin, and a myriad of other people who have the skinny and they're not on the take. But we choose to listen to our favorite entertainers. To quote the great Malcolm X, is Jackie Robinson speaking for the white people? Who's the white Jackie Robinson? Who's the white Harry Belafonte? Who's the white Dick Gregory? And I'm not saying that those people were not educated. I'm not saying those people didn't know what they were talking about, but why are we looking towards them? We should be looking for people who are political scientists, people who are political engineers and things of that nature, so they can come together like Kwame Ture, Ralph Abernathy, Maynard Rustin, and those kinds of people. Why are we not listening to those people? Whitney Young, A. Philip Randolph, and people who have created things and put us in better position so we can succeed, excel, and prevail. But we're listening to rappers. See, and the reason you are listening to a rapper because they've been pushed out in front of you. See, they don't want you to study your history. They don't want you to study your past, because if they see that you know about your past, then you'll make a change in your everyday attitude, your everyday wisdom, your everyday way of thinking. And if you do that, then that foils the plan. We don't want to foil the plan. We just want to put ourselves in a position to put our grandchildren in a position to excel. And that's all we want to do. I want to show you a video to show you how we definitely have no friends. We have no friends, brothers and sisters, ladies, gentlemen, haters, and bitter friends. We have no friends. We have allies and we have enemies. After you watch this, I'll be back shortly.
In 1944, the 14-year-old African-American teenager by the name of George Stanley Jr. became the youngest person ever to face capital punishment in the United States. Today, we're going to talk about his story. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on Patreon or Buy Me Coffee in the description below. Please support the YouTube channel. But without further ado, let's get started. George lived in a small segregated town of Alcoa, South Carolina, with his father, George Stanley Sr., his mother, Amy, his brother, John, his sisters, Catherine and Amy, and his father worked at the local sawmill, and his family lived in company housing provided to them by the sawmill. March 23rd, 1944, two young girls, 11-year-old Betty June Binnicker and 7-year-old Mary Emma Thames, were riding their bicycles looking for flowers when they saw George and his sister Amy during their journey. They stopped to ask them if they knew where they could find maypops, which is a yellow edible fruit. It would be the last time that either of them were seen alive. Their disappearance prompted hundreds of residents, including George Stanley's father, to come together and search for the two missing girls, but the girls would not be located until the following day when their bodies were discovered in a ditch. According to the medical examiner, both girls suffered blunt force trauma caused by an unknown weapon. While specifics of what happened that day remained unknown, a rumor floated around town that the girls had made a stop at a prominent white family's home on the day of the murder. But none of this had ever been confirmed, and police certainly never looked for a white killer. When it was reported that the girls had passed by the property of the family home earlier in the day and were seen talking to George Stanley later that evening, Clarendon County law enforcement came to the home. George and his elder sibling John were both apprehended by Deputy H.S. Newman for allegedly murdering the two girls. George was interrogated for hours in a small room without his parents or attorney. Despite the Sixth Amendment's assurance of legal counsel, this requirement was not consistently enforced in the United States until the Supreme Court decided in the ruling of Gideon versus Wainwright in 1963 that legal representation needed to be provided throughout a criminal proceeding. Stanley then was reported to have confessed to Deputy Newman. Newman wrote in a handwritten statement that I arrested a boy by the name of George Stanley. He made a confession and told me where to find a piece of iron about 15 inches long. He put it in a ditch about 6 feet from the bicycle. John was then dismissed by police, but George was held under guardianship and was not granted contact with his parents. Following his arrest, his father was promptly fired from his job at the sawmill. Therefore, the Stanley family had to vacate their company housing. The family was also fearful for their well-being because the threat of lynching was a very real threat. Furthermore, Stanley's parents never saw him before his trial, leaving him without any type of support during the 81 days of his incarceration. The 14-year-old would then be taken to a jail in Columbia, South Carolina, almost 50 miles away from Alcoa due to the threat of him being lynched. April 24th, 1944, George Stanley Jr.'s trial would begin. Charles Plowden, Stanley's court-appointed attorney, was campaigning for a local office and did little to nothing to defend his client. Thus, he did not challenge the three officers' testimony that Stanley had confessed to the two murders. The prosecution then provided two separate versions of Stanley's verbal confession, one in which he allegedly helped one of the girls who had fallen in the ditch and ended up killing them in self-defense. In the second version, reportedly, Stanley followed the girls before initially attacking Emma Thames, then Betty June. All documents containing Stanley's confession were limited to Deputy Newman's account of the murders. The prosecution then called three witnesses, Reverend Francis Batson, who discovered the victims' bodies, and two doctors who had completed post-mortem examination. The court acknowledges bruising on the victim's private area raised the possibility of sexual assault. Stanley's defense counsel did not cross-examine any of the witnesses or present any witnesses of their own. The entire trial lasted just 2.5 hours. More than 1,000 people attended the trial in the courtroom, but no African Americans were admitted. By the time of the trial, Stanley had not seen his parents in weeks, and the 14-year-old was surrounded in the courtroom by strangers. He was then tried before an all-white jury, since most African Americans in southern states were excluded from jury rolls. After deliberation of less than 10 minutes, the jury declared Stanley guilty of murder. Judge Philip H. Stoll then sentenced him to death via electric chair. Remarkably, no appeal was ever submitted on Stanley's behalf. George Stanley Jr. execution was not without protest, though. The NAACP, Stanley's family, and the local churches all petitioned Governor Olin D. Johnston to show mercy to the 14-year-old defendant. Thousands of letters and telegraphs were sent in an attempt to plead for justice based on both basic fairness and Christian values. On June 14th, just 2 days before his scheduled execution, the governor visited George Stanley Jr. In his statement, the governor mentions George Stanley confessing to killing the girls in order to sexually assault the other. It's only after this that Stanley's parents were granted visitation to the youth while he was being held in the Columbia Penitentiary, and this was only due to the danger of a potential lynching. June 16th, 1944, George Stanley Jr. entered the execution chamber of the South Carolina State Penitentiary in Columbia with a Bible tucked under his arm. Weighing just 95 pounds, the young boy was dressed in an ill-fitting striped jumpsuit. He jumped into an adult-sized electric chair that was difficult for him to fit in, and when he was asked if he had any last words, George simply and calmly replied, "No, sir." The mask was placed over his face, but it was too big to fit properly. At 7:30 in the morning, officials flipped on the current, and George Stanley was pronounced dead. And shortly thereafter, he would be buried in an unmarked grave in Crowley, South Carolina. In a span of 83 days, George Stanley Jr. had been charged with murder, tried, convicted, and executed by the state. In the aftermath, in 2004, George Ferguson, a local historian in Alco, South Carolina, had read an article about the George Stanley Jr. case. After researching the case, Ferguson received assistance from South Carolina lawyers Steve McKenzie and Matt Burgess. The family of George Stanley Jr. continued to contend that his confession had been coerced, and he had been with his sister at the time of the murders. Additionally, George Stanley's cellmate, Johnny Hunter, asserted that Stanley had denied any involvement in the deaths of Beneker and Thames, and Hunter attests that he said, "Johnny, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Why would they kill me for something that I didn't do?" McKenzie and Burgess would then file a motion for a new trial in 2013. December 16, 2014, Circuit Court Judge Carmen Mullen vacated Stanley's conviction, ruling that his confession was most likely coerced. He was not properly defended, and his Sixth Amendment rights had been violated, and the execution of the 14-year-old Stanley constituted cruel and unusual punishment. Thank you. This has been One Mic Black History. I'm your host, Country Boy. You like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. Also, you like to support the channel, you can do so on my Buy Me Coffee and Patreon page in the description below. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and support the YouTube channel.
Welcome back. This is H-Rap. This is Building Short. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that share button, tell a friend to subscribe and continue to watch. Thank you for tuning in. As you see, anytime you have a situation, look, one of the things that I consistently preach about is this. I consistently preach about how epigenetically you have things that are great inside of you due to your grandparents, great-grandparents, and so forth and so on. Everybody who you are a sum total of everybody in your lineage, right? If your grandfather was a carpenter and your grandmother was a seamstress, there's a great opportunity for you to be something in the creative field yourself. Understandable. These are things that we are fully aware of, and these are things that are part of us. So the question I have for you is this. The same people who killed young brother Stanley right there put a 13-year-old in an electric chair to the point where he had to be put in the phone booth and everything was too big for him. Yo, you were hell-bent on destroying this young man's life with very minimum proof that he did anything erroneous. If the good things aren't part of you and the bad things are part of you, that means the people who are still here, who are walking the earth to this day, some of those people may still be alive who put that young man in an electric chair. And that means they passed along some of that hate, some of that disdain, and some of that wicked mentality onto their ancestors and so forth and so on. So that lets you know we don't have a whole lot of friends because they're the same things that were embedded in them, the good, the bad, and the ugly that were embedded in them, and embedded in their ancestors. And these are the things that I need you to pay attention to. See, what wicked people do is affiliate themselves with certain things, certain aspects of the world. They do certain things in certain aspects of the world, and then what they do is this: they find things that are commonalities. Like they did this in Nazi Germany. Had a lot of people focusing on the Jews. The Jews are dirty. The Jews are crooked. The Jews are wicked. The Jews. And guess what happened? They had a whole army of people that converge on the Jewish community and make them the bad guys. So when those people were annihilated, no one liked those people anyway. Guess what? You are the new Jews. In America, you will be treated like the Jews. And you may not agree and you may not see it coming, but this is what we do. The new focus of the hate is this: the LGBTQIE community. Man, I'm sick of them. You ain't got to be transgender. You ain't got to be gay. You ain't got to worry about those people. You don't have to worry about anybody and what they do in their personal business. Why they got to tell me this? Why you listening? If you don't like what you're seeing on television, turn. If you not like what you listen to in the music, turn it off. If you don't like what you're seeing, read a book. Do everything that you can to avoid it. But you know what they do? They put you in a situation to where you're judging people because we all are sick of that thing over there. That LGBTQ thing, we're sick of that, right? That's what you say. And then they focus on attacking them. And what you do? You turn into the oppressor junior. You turn into your oppressor 2000. And what you do is you sign up with the hate that they have for them and the disdain that they have for the LGBTQ community. You put it on them and you make it your business to join up with the hate because I'm sick of them too. But guess what? 100 years ago, they were sick of your black behind. So you're going to sign up the very people who were trying to put you in behind the gun, aim the gun at your face, and you're going to do what they did to you to somebody else. Look, you don't have to like, participate, or engage in LGBTQIE activities. But what you do have to do is respect the fact that they are who they are and leave them alone. And when people recognize, when people gang up and get you to go against the LGBTQIE community, what they're doing is saying, okay, now that we got those people away, now let's move over to the blacks. Let's move to the natives. Let's move to the Asians. Let's move to the Latinos. That's what the plan is. But instead, they gave it to them. Look, just like here in Chicago. Man, we got a migrant problem. How they going to give them $9,000 a month? I need $9,000. Don't get mad at the migrants for getting it. Don't even get mad at the people who giving it to them. That's your cue. That's your cue. See, they told you they couldn't afford to keep those schools on the south and west side of Chicago open. Now, what your state represents, what you need to be is at Sean K. Ford and Monique down the street from my church and Danny K. Davis, who's running for office, and other people who are running for office. You know what you need to be doing? You need to be on the phone with them tomorrow morning. Tell you what, download the 5 Calls app. 5 Calls app lets you get right in contact with anybody in the government you want. 5 Calls app. Get in contact with them on the 5 Calls app and say, hey, Representative XYZ, whatever his name is, the 5 Calls will put you in contact with them. Where's my $9,000? And if 10, 11, 12, 15, 20, 100 of us did that tomorrow, then it'll be a problem. See, when they gave them $9,000 a piece, there's no need for 65. As I had a guest on the show about a month ago, she said 65 to 70% of the homeless people in Chicago are black men. So why is your brother, uncle, cousin, homeboy homeless? I got a homeboy who's homeless. Why is he homeless? If you can house people who are seeking asylum, they're asylum seekers. They come from Central America, South America, and things like that. Why can't you help me? See, when you see somebody, it's just look at it this way. If your significant other told you, man, we can't go out this weekend, I'm broke, but his brother or sister come over, or her brother or their brother or sister come over and borrow $300 or $400 the same day you couldn't go to the movies, all you start doing, you don't get mad at him or her. You put on your clothes and say, oh, you got money to get to your sister and your brother. I know we going to Ruth Chris. I know we going to the movies. I know I need a new pair of shoes because you just gave away money freely out of our home. So I know you have it. And that's what we need to start doing. Don't get mad at the migrants. Don't get mad with the LGBTQ. Obama did for them. guess what? That means at the next card game, at the next, if you're in Chicago, the next step set, the next Masonic meeting, the next Divine Nine meeting, the next group text for, in a couple of weeks, y'all gonna be getting them Merry Christmas and Happy New Year text that you get on everybody's nerves, that group text. All you have to do is say, did you call the congressman today and ask about your $9,000? That's what we have to start doing. See, the migrant thing, look, do you feel like you're being cheated? Probably so. Are you saying, do you feel like you've been left out? More than likely you do. But this lets you know that there's money out there to be given. Joe Biden, you gave $22 billion to the Ukraine. I know darn well you give me some on this house. See, that's all we have to do. You can't cry broke and give away money. We don't have to get mad at other communities because they got it. All we have to do is look at the blueprint. As I stated at the top of the show, we need to be more like this community. We need to be like community X. We need to be like community Y. We need to be like community Z. But X, Y, and Z have shown us there is money to be given. Therefore, when they giving out money, we need to be in line like this. Or here's another one. Everybody's talking about the Democrats and Republicans. Democrats and Republicans. Both of them your enemies. I told y'all it's like Sweet Daddy and Too Good. One of them will kill you. One of them will beat you up. Democrats will beat you up, put you in the hospital. Republicans, they're going to kill you. And you hurt either way. Either gone or you hurt. I'm not rolling with anybody. But what I am going to do is tell you this. Let's not start saying things like, we not going to vote for them unless. Look, I told y'all last week, it's a divide and conquer situation. 270 is the magic number. 270 is the magic number. Those are the electoral college votes that's needed by either party to win the election. So if you got the independents who are not going to win, you know how I know the independents are not going to win? I'm going to follow the blueprint of what was known as the Tea Party. The Tea Party had a blueprint. They started getting elected officials, city council people. They started getting aldermen, what they call them here, state reps, state senators. And they had the whole state government, the local government, then the state government, then the federal government. Rafael Cruz in Texas is a former member of the Tea Party. He's aligned himself with the Republican Party, but that's how you build a party. You don't show up at the fight 12 months before the fight starts and say, let's fight. No, because you're not going to win. The Democratic machine and the Republican machine is too strong. But if you have it's 203, it's like 360 state people in the House of Representatives. You start taking over the House of Representatives with the small independent parties. You get people in your community to run for city council, school council, aldermen, committeemen, and things of that nature. So now you've taken over your city, and then you got state reps. You get those people to take over the state representatives for your state. Now your independent party is running your state, and then you run somebody for the mayor of Chicago as an independent, like Brandon Johnson. Get this. Everybody mad at Brandon Johnson because he's giving these people asylum. That rule was set in place in the 70s. So you should have been mad at Richard J. Daley. Then you should have been mad at Michael Belandy. Then you should have been mad at Jane Byrne. Then you should have been Harold had nothing to do with that. We ain't gonna be mad at Harold because Harold didn't do none of that. Harold had the city running like a well-oiled machine. But then Richard Daley II, and then you had Rahm Emanuel. And that's how you get mad at that situation. You back map. You don't go with the dude who's been in office for 6 months who are just following the rules. You find out when the rules were set, and then you back map it. This is why H-Rap needs people like H-Rap. I had him on the show once about a year ago. His name is Sean Walker. You start talking to those people about, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? Complain to the people who you elected. The Democratic Party is not your friend. The Republican Party is your enemy. So you got a non-friend and an enemy. They both mean you no good. Again, the Democratic Party will beat you up. The Republican Party is set up to kill you. Anytime you're setting laws in place so reparations won't even be studied and you trying to put it in the state constitution, that's a problem. That is a problem. But we're not focusing on that. We're going to hold our vote. See, they ain't never done nothing for us. Nah. We mad at Brandon Johnson. He been in office 6 months. Y'all do understand he's just following foreign policy. He just follows city and state policy. He's just doing his job. Well, he didn't do this. You haven't asked him for anything. See, it's easy to get mad at Brandon Johnson because he's the face. You don't do that with the coach, with the Bears. If they hired a new coach today, you won't say, "Hey man, you lost the last 8 games." No, he's just going along. He's just going along to get to the point where he can make headway. And am I excusing anybody? No, I'm not. But just like Brandon Johnson is an independent and won in the city of Chicago, we need to have the entire city of Chicago City Council being taken over by independent people who you and I know. The school council needs to be taken over by people that you and I know, so the curriculum can be fixed, so we can put ourselves in place. And then we need to have the city council vote in the reinitiation of trade schools. So there's a shortage of electricians. We need to open up one of these schools and make it an electrical school. Shortage of welders. We need to get some welders in play. Guess what? No background checks, no criminal situations with welders and things of that nature. That's what we need to be doing. Because guess what? Those people who you're angry with migrants, once they adapt to the United States of America, once you adapt to the United States of America, okay, maybe that's my sister. That's my sister Kim. You running for office in your neighborhood. You have good ideas. We should start by leading by an example. I totally agree with you, Kim, that you and I both know y'all don't want me in on. I might steal. No, but on the serious side, she's correct. But this is what we need to do. We need to start like that. We need to elect people like myself and other people who are talking all the time. Maybe I need to run for office. Maybe I do. Maybe I need to start knocking on doors and get elected just like Brandon Johnson and say, hey, this is the problem. This is the problem. We have to find people like myself, like my sister said, like myself, and other people who are going to get things taken care of. We cannot be mad at the dude at the top when it's the people up under them that's kicking us. It's easy to kick Brandon Johnson. He's been in office 6 months. You can't be mad at him for this mess. Guess what? The dude who was running against him closed over 60 schools in the city of Chicago, most of them in black neighborhoods on the west and south side of Chicago. Why ain't we mad about that? Guess what? The mayor before, Rahm Emanuel, sold the parking meters for 20 years. He sold the Skyway. It cost $12 to drive from 63rd and 63rd and Dan Ryan to Indiana, and you could almost walk there. Cost $12 to walk. And guess what? Every time somebody going back and forth, that's $12 a day. Probably 1 million people going through that. Guess what? That's $12 million every day. And guess what? We ain't mad at Richard Day Jada, but we mad at Brandon Johnson. So let's replace the city council slowly but surely. And then you replace the state representatives slowly but surely. Why is it dilapidated buildings on the west side of Chicago that has been dilapidated since 1968, the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., 2 years before I was born, and I'm 53 years old. That means 55 years later. And nobody's invested in the west side of Chicago. Nobody's invested in the south side of Chicago, what they call it, the low end. When we had a series of housing projects that had more people in those housing projects than the state of Rhode Island. More people live in the statewide garden housing projects than in the state of Rhode Island. But we mad at Brandon Johnson. We mad at migrants. We mad at white folks. We mad at this person. We mad at the gay people. Let's start in the grassroots situation. I know people. I had an elected official on my show, a dude running for elected official, Sean Walker, off from high school. He didn't get elected, but we need to get behind people like that. And once we get behind people like that, then we can make complaints, because now we know him personally. Maybe I should. I've never had any aspiration to run it, and people that do the background checks, they're gonna throw me out. Uncle Phil me. But on the serious side, these are the things that we have to do. We must find viable people to run for office who we know are going to do our bidding. And then we take over the city of Chicago. Chicago pretty much runs the state of Illinois. So now the state of Illinois is running. And now Governor Pritzker is going to do what we want him to do. And then now the state is in a better situation. Then Indiana does the same thing. There's a lot of us moving to Iowa. Then Iowa does the same thing. There's a whole bunch of us in Arkansas. Then Arkansas and Missouri doing the same thing, and so forth and so on. Do we want to take over the world? No. But we want work. We want fair rights for working class individuals, especially us. See, we always say, well, we don't work together. Well, we don't really have a foundation. A lot of other communities have foundations. See, one of the greatest things to create a foundation is a language. When your language is stripped away from you, you have a problem. When your God is stripped away from you, you have a problem. When you have these things that were stripped away from you, you have a problem. So we recreate the foundation, and then we got our house. Then let's say I move next door to my sister Kim, and then I'm on the left side of Kim and on the right side, and then Kim and Ned in the middle. So now we got 4 people on the block. Then we get these people, and it just moves on. It grows and grows and grows. That's how you create a foundation. And then we get the alderman, and then we get the state representative, and then we get the city council. Now we control the city. Now the party is getting bigger. Now the independent party spreads throughout the country. Independence in Michigan, in Ohio, in Indiana, in Kentucky, in Tennessee, in Iowa, in Missouri, in Arkansas, in Louisiana. Those are the states that pretty much touch Illinois or in close proximity. Now we got people in these places talking independent. Then you can run for president. And look, mad respect for Cornel West, but that's a paper chase right there. That man chasing money, man, because he knows he raising all this money to run for president. Somebody in the Democratic Party, somebody in the Republican Party gonna win. More than likely, you're going to be Trump. And like I told you, 270 is the number. If Trump gets 140, he gets 140, independents don't get enough, guess what happened? The Speaker of the House announces who the president is. See, this is basic civics. We learned this in 8th grade. President, Vice President, Speaker of the House. So if something, God forbid, happens to Joe Biden, then something happens to Sister Kamala Harris, then MAGA Joe Johnson is the president of the United States. That's how it works. Why do you think they made such a ruckus about the House of Representatives? They had a dude on there who was starting to speak sensibly. We got to get him out of here. And he put MAGA Mike Johnson in play. And then it's the underlay for the overplay. We can't vote independent. What we have to do now, in 8 years, in 2028, if we start doing this now, and in 2028, we can take over the world. The independent party can take over the world, just like the Tea Party did. Remember, everybody was scared of the Tea Party about 12 years ago. 12 years ago, everybody was definitely afraid of the Tea Party. Those people came in, took over, had Obama on his heels. He couldn't do anything. He didn't want to do the signature thing, executive order like Donald. He tried to be peaceful and things of that nature, upstanding, upright. That's the way elections work in this country. When you got money, you got power. You got power, you take over. Now, if you want sensible people, you find sensible people. You find sensible people and you put them in play. Otherwise, you suffer the consequences. You find sensible people, you put them in play. Otherwise, you're going to suffer the consequences. If you don't, you are going to have to deal with the foolishness that comes along with dealing with fools. This is it. So, am I a fan of Joe Biden? Me and my sister Kim, my brother Anu, our brother Anthony, we should do a show called The Backyard. And she can attest to it. She's in the chat room. I told him we need to elect Joe Biden and get rid of him immediately and put somebody else in play. So, since that's not an option anymore, we're going to re-elect this dude and we're going to find somebody else in the independent who's not connected to the Democrats or the Republicans. And he's going to do our bit. I need my people in Texas. I need my people in California, Arizona, Colorado, all the Midwest, all the dirty South, all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. Find somebody now to elect next year in a local capacity. We take over locally, we take over the world. That's the way it works. Vote for independent now, unless everybody who's in the Democratic Party just goes straight to independent. America can't get together on what we want on a pizza. We damn sure can't get together on who we're going to elect in the independent party. So what we need to do is this, folks. We need to steadily build up to it. They are trying to do away with it. I told y'all this 6 years ago. They are doing away with the 1965 Civil Rights Act. I told y'all they was going to go Roe versus Wade. I told y'all they was going to go for affirmative action. They went for the housing situation. People, we're going to get a reprieve simply because when they did away with the abortion situation, what happened was when they started attacking the abortion situation, what happened was a lot of women's rights groups, white women, let's just be honest, a lot of white women say, ho, ho, ho. And then now they're going with transgender because they know everybody hates the transgender. Yeah, that's just crazy. Why you want to be a man? You was born. Not your business. What me and my old lady do in the bedroom, they ain't your business. I ain't going to tell you. She ain't going to tell you. We ain't going to tell you. So why you care what's going on? Well, what about my kids? Your kids smoking weed, watching porn on their phone. Knock it off. Your kids know what's going on. Kids are smarter than way smarter than we think they are. Because they don't have all the details don't mean they stupid. They just small, intelligent people. So start having conversations with your children. Stop talking. Sit down. Shut up. Don't move. Stop talking at them. Start talking to them. Remember, at one point, your parents didn't tell you things and it frustrated you to no end. Don't be like your parents, be better. Your parents did the best that they can. Now that you have more information, you know what your parents did wrong because you're doing it different with your children. So with your grandchildren, your children, start talking to them, start talking at them. More than likely, I remember once running up on a little person. Thought he was a child. My mother saying, nah, he's an adult. He's just short. It wasn't no big time conversation. And guess what? 2 men kissing, 2 women kissing. Kids ain't even really looking at that. Kids looking for snacks and toys. And they look like have fun. Hey, what was it? No, knock it off. Talk to your children. Educate your children on life, and you won't have any problems. Look, if looking at gay people made you turn gay, it's more straight people in the world than gay people. So why ain't gay people turning straight? So either you are or you are not. You can't. A lot of people might be exploring, but it ain't gonna be no rash because if that's the case, gay will be gone because there's way more of us than them. So let's get off this hate train and get on this educate train and move us forward. You cannot hate your way into nothing. You can't out-hate wicked people. If you disagree, all you have to do is go right back to the state of Florida, where this bill is being put on the table, so you can put this in the Florida Constitution, so reparations can't even be a conversation. Go to Florida and just ask, hey, how did they get rid of advanced placement African American studies? Because they went to the black preachers in the black community in the churches and said, hey, they're gonna be teaching gay and black history. And they, oh, we don't want that. And now you got lower rated black history. You don't have advanced placement. So you can't go to get a college level, which is it's a plus and a minus, but don't do away with my history to prove a point. So guess what? Whitney Young was a gay man. Baynard Rustin was a gay man. Langston Hughes was a gay man. James Baldwin was a gay man. And there's a myriad of other people who are paramount in the black struggle who were part of that LGBTQ community. It wasn't called that then, but they were part of the gay community. We're gonna do away with them? No, you're gonna do away with the genius thinking of a James Baldwin? No, you're not. You want the elegant speaking of a Langston Hughes? No, you're not. The magnificent mind of a Baynard Rustin? No, you are not. So you got people to turn against our history by talking about gay and straight. So are we not going to teach Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible anymore? It was some gay people that walked up on them angels. It was some men tried to walk up on them angels and rape them angels. So it was men on men. We're not going to teach that part of the Bible anymore? We're not going to teach that anymore? No, we're not going to teach that. We're not going to teach. Yes, we are. So let's not pretend that it's a section of this world that's not existence. You can hate who you want. You can not like who you want. Keep it to yourself. If you don't like me, that's your problem, not mine. I'm glad you don't like me because now I ain't got to say hi to your black behind either. But if you want to advance our community, advance life for working class individuals, educate our folks, put our young people in a better situation, then you gonna please, James Brown, please take my advice and leave that hate in your back pocket. I told y'all, this is what we can do. We can put ourselves in a better situation. So at one point, we all have $1 billion in the bank, and then we can argue about gay, straight, Christian, Muslim, and all that. Once we all billionaires, then we can argue about that. But as long as we all working class people, we ain't got time to hate nobody. We don't have time to hate anybody, because hate is what got us here. If you're going to join in on the hate train, then don't get mad when the Ku Klux Klan burn the cross in front of your crib. Don't get mad at that. These people are trying to strip you of everything, and you're going to join their mission and hate other people. I don't like gay people. Don't be gay. I don't like abortion. Don't get one. And if you don't have a uterus, you really need to not talk about no abortions. You really need to stop talking about abortion. If you can't have no baby, or you wasn't born with the equipment to have a baby, I think you need to not talk about that. Because guess what? You can't tell me nothing about being black from somebody else. Well, see, the black people need to, you need to shut up. Cayete pendejo, right? I need you to shut your darn mouth. So you can't tell me, I'm not going to worry about the gay people. I'm not going to worry about the white folks. I'm not going to worry about our Latino brothers. I'm not going to worry about our Asian brothers. I'm not going to worry about our Muslim brothers. I'm not going to worry about our Buddhist brothers. I'm not going to worry about nobody. But I'm going to worry about my people. And guess what? My grandchildren are going to hang with your grandchildren. They're going to hang with your grandchildren, and so forth and so on. So that affects all of us. So what I want us to do is stop participating in the hate parade. We have no time for this. We have no time for this. None. I'm looking for something. That's why I'm looking to the side. Yeah, can't find it. Yeah, we have no time for this foolishness, people. We don't. Y'all can play that game, but I guarantee you're going to lose. You are going to lose. You have no win in this fight. The fight that you're the fight that you're trying to engage in is a fight that was waged against you. If it was waged against you, why would you treat somebody else the way somebody else treated you? With that being said, this is the end of the 8th season. Tomorrow's the first day of the 9th season of The End of the Bench. I am H. Rob B. I thank you all for subscribing. I need you to get somebody to subscribe. Do me a favor, get one person to subscribe. You got a link, send that link to some of your friends and tell them to subscribe. Please help your man out. Hit that like button, hit that share button, tell a friend and tell a friend. Thank you for tuning in for the last 8 years. 8 years, once a week. I've only missed 1 week in 8 years. 1 week in 8 years. I've been on every week, but one week, one episode. I didn't do it. With that being said, I want to thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for the subscriptions. Thank y'all for sharing and telling a friend to tell a friend. Thank y'all for tuning in. I want to salute the people who give me the inspiration to do this. I got the Ghetto Boys, Tariq Nasheed, Nori, Talib Kweli, Zoe Williams, Sway Calloway, Roland Martin, Al Shopton, Heather B, Super Dope Brother Clay Kane, my personal favorites, Larry Daniel Favorite, the most informed person I've ever come in contact with, Dr. Greg Cost, Salute, Karen Hunter, she killing it, and the Dean of Black Talklandia, the president of Black Talklandia, that is Joe Madison. Thank you, Reddy Kev. It has been a blast. Tomorrow, End of the Bench Sports comes back with Hold My Beer. That is the actual 8-year anniversary tomorrow, the 13th of December, 2015. It's my mother's birthday. My mother inspired me to do this. I'm coming back with Hold My Beer Sports. We're going to talk about why LeBron James is bigger than Michael Jordan. Subscribe, argue with me. I'm going to even let people click the link and come on, and y'all can be on right next to me, something like this. Y'all can be like, hey, man, LeBron James ain't never been Michael Jordan. And then I'm just have you up here, and then you're going to say something dumb, right, just like that. And then I'm like, shut up. You don't know nothing. I'm going to put you on the screen. You got something to say. Say it tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hold My Beer. The End of the Bench Media. Subscribe. Be a part of the show. Tell a friend to tune in. And if you ain't got nothing to say, and if you think Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James,
you better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you.
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they down for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach the congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now his people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brain. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him two to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't. You thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang. Killed our women and our children. All our leaders is slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth in the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't. You thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang. Killed our women and our children. All our leaders is slain. It's all a game.